Good evening to you all. Today, we're going to talk about episode number 15 from Surah An-Nissa. And we'll start from verse 141. And it says, "Those who wait and watch you. If you have a victory from Allah, they say, were we not with you? But if the disbelievers have a share, they say, did we not have power over you and protect you from the believers? So Allah will judge between you on the day of resurrection, and Allah will never grant the disbelievers a way over the believers." Honestly, I want to apologize today for my voice, because I have a bad cold and my voice will sound a bit different, so I apologize to you in advance here. What does this verse mean? Simply, it means that the hypocrites are not just waiting neutrally, no. And the believers were victorious. Pay attention. They say to them, we fought with you, we struggled with you, we worked with you, so we want our share of what? Of the spoils and all those things. But if the disbelievers, the group of disbelievers, are the ones who win, they say to them, we were with you, and we used to send you news about the Prophet and his companions and his group. And we used to write to you and inform you of his secrets, and leak to you the dangerous things he had. And with the information we gave you, we provided you with it. You defeated the believers, so don't forget to give us our due. That was the stance of the hypocrites between the believers and who? The disbelievers. They don't have a clear position. Who is saying this? Who is the source that said everything I just mentioned? It is Majma al-Bayan in the interpretation of the Quran by the Tabarisis. Honestly, I don't have a question about this verse or anything. 141. Verse 142. It says that the hypocrites try to deceive God, but he is deceiving them. And when they stand up for prayer, they do so lazily, showing off to people and barely remembering God. Here's the truth. What does it mean? What's the meaning? The meaning of the verse. I'll tell you the source. It means that the hypocrites always show faith and try to get close to the believers. You see, they attend their gatherings and all that, but they're doing it with hypocrisy in mind. They're deceiving. They try to deceive God, or they think they're deceiving God with these actions they do. They attend the believers' gatherings, get close to them, and even go pray with them too. But when they go, they're lazy, they don't have any drive or energy. Like, do they go and pray with real enthusiasm? No, they don't have that. Alright. So, the source says they want to deceive God, meaning the Prophet. Pay attention to this point. They want to deceive God, meaning the Prophet. Exactly. And they didn't even realize in the first place that God has let them do that. You see, so they think they're deceiving him, while in reality, he's the one deceiving them by letting them think they're deceiving him. He's letting them be. He sees, he knows, he's got their number, by the way. He understands very well. Let's put it in parentheses. He knows they're being hypocrites, but he's letting them be hypocrites. And they think they're deceiving God, while in fact, it's God who's deceiving them. I hope that's clear. I'm not talking about my own opinion. Of course, I'm conveying the perspective of the source I'll tell you about in a moment. That's how we understand it. Hypocrites keep getting close to believers and praying lazily like that. He attends meetings with believers thinking they are deceiving God, while God, who they allow to do these things, is the one deceiving them. Be careful of this strange approach. Okay. Source. Bar al-Mizan in the interpretation of the Quran. Al-Tabtabai. Very nice. The question here, even assuming the accuracy of this source, al-Tabtabai, does God really deceive the hypocrites as they try to deceive him? Does God deceive the hypocrites the same way they try to deceive him? That was actually my question about this verse. I mean, if I saw someone on my home camera stealing from my house and I just let him steal while I was watching him clearly, does that mean I stole from him? If we try to make an analogy, honestly, I don't understand everything. I mean, I see that this image the Quran presents, that they deceive God and God deceives them. God does not deceive anyone, you know. This image, or let's say this approach, is just to make the idea easier for people to understand at that time, nothing more, nothing less. But God can never be in a state of equality or conflict with humans, as if to say, you are deceiving me. Oh, like, I'm the one deceiving you, that kind of thing. Otherwise, if we take these words literally, even assuming the source is true, it would mean that they actually deceived God, you know. And he also deceived them. The proof is that the verse itself doesn't say that the hypocrites want to deceive God. No, it actually says, the text of the verse says, that the hypocrites deceive God. So the deception really happened, and he deceived them. That means there was mutual deception between the hypocrites on one side and God on the other. On the contrary, it was the hypocrites who started deceiving God, and he responded with a counter-deception. That's the issue. So if we take the verse as it is, word for word, I mean, if we deal with the Quran literally, this means that these hypocrites have deceived God. All right. Very good. Okay, that was the verse, the question, and the comment on the text or the wording of the verse. Verse 143, wavering between this and that, belonging neither to these nor to those. And who are the hypocrites? They are the ones who are wavering. They're neither with the disbelievers nor with the believers. They're only with their own interests, and in their minds, they think they're deceiving. Who are they deceiving? God or the Prophet, as the source says, and you can check it yourself. So it says, wavering between this and that, belonging neither to these nor to those. And whoever God leads astray, you will never find a way for him. What does this mean? It means that the hypocrites, these are a group who are neither believers nor disbelievers. They're playing both sides for their own interests. Oh, so what's the meaning here? The meaning is that the hypocrites are hesitant between disbelief and faith, so they are not disbelievers to be held accountable like the disbelievers, nor are they believers to be obligated with what is required of the believers. They are neither this nor that, exactly. And whoever God leads astray, he will not find a path to guidance, to righteousness, piety, or faith. And all of these things, who is the source here? It's Ma'alim al-Tanzil by al-Baghawi. It's actually a very good description of the hypocrites here. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure. So is the question here about verse 143? Because it says, and whoever God leads astray, you will never find a way for him. I'm not sure if God is the one who led the hypocrites astray from the very beginning. Like, is he the one who made them hypocrites in the first place, from the start? Is this his will in the first place? That's the first hypothesis. Or is the second hypothesis that they went astray and became hypocrites, and then God completed their misguidance? He led them further astray. You went astray. Yeah, you got hurt. Yeah, come here, let me blind you. since you went astray, here you go. Let me finish you off as God. So the real question here is, did he lead them astray from the very beginning? Is he the one who made them hypocrites in the first place? I mean, were they believers and he turned them into hypocrites? Or did they actually start down the path of hypocrisy themselves and then God completed it for them? That was really the question. And then, I don't know, like either way, whether they were the ones who started the hypocrisy. Whether it was God who, willed or wanted them to go astray from the start, or whether they started down the path of hypocrisy and then God led them astray in the end. Okay, so what are they supposed to do? I just don't get it. If God's will and decree can't be changed, and he decides to lead a certain person astray, then what is that person supposed to do? Why doesn't he just guide him instead? He started down the path of hypocrisy. So why doesn't God guide him? The problem is, he could bring him back to the right path. As long as it's in his hands. See, that's the thing. Honestly, I don't get it. 144. O you who have believed, do not take disbelievers as allies instead of believers. Do you wish to give God against yourselves a clear case? Pay attention here as well. So, what does this mean here? He's warning. This verse is warning the believers not to take the disbelievers as allies, or friends, or close companions. Meaning, you shouldn't take a disbeliever as a friend or ally. Wali here means ally, friend, or someone you trust, and leave your fellow believers. You shouldn't take this one as your ally and abandon your real brother, the believer, and leave him behind. No, you must take a believer as your ally, not a disbeliever. So, it's warning them not to act like the hypocrites. Because the hypocrites took the disbelievers as allies. So this is warning the believers not to act like the disbelievers. Very good. And then she asks them, or do you want to give God an excuse to punish you because you took the disbelievers as allies? Exactly like that. I'll tell you the source now. Don't worry, just pay attention. This is a reproachful question directed at the believers. Here it is again. Don't take them, O believers. In short, believers, don't take the disbelievers as allies like the hypocrites did, or do you want to give God an excuse to punish you with on the day of judgment? Exactly right. The source is Lubab al-Tawil Faimani al-Tanzil by Al-Kazim. Very good. Here's the real question. Does God need an excuse? Pay attention so he can punish. Pay attention. He can punish believers if they take disbelievers as allies and abandon believers if they act like hypocrites. Does God need an excuse? Honestly, I mean, the whole context here is going in that direction. They try to deceive God, and he deceives them, and, they only allied themselves with the disbelievers just like the hypocrites did. Or do you want to give God an excuse to punish you with them? And here, it's about the day of judgment. Honestly, it's like a situation where there's this kind of equality between humans and God. And of course, that's not right at all. That's why I say that the words of the Quran are meant to bring the picture closer to human understanding, that's all. For example, in 4:145, indeed, the hypocrites will be in the lowest depths of the fire, and you will not find for them any helper. Here, the source is saying, what does this actually mean? These hypocrites we've been talking about for the past 4 or 5 verses, these are the ones who are neither true believers nor outright disbelievers. They haven't openly declared their disbelief, and they do certain things just to make it look like they're believers. These people, in reality, will be in the lowest level of hell because it has 7 levels. 7 levels. Jahannam, Leza, Al-Hutama, As-Sa'ir, Sakar, Al-Jahim, and Al-Hawiya are all names for the 7 levels or something else. I don't know how many levels. Anyway, this hypocrite on the day of judgment, when he goes to hell, they'll put him in an iron coffin so he can't escape. And that coffin will be placed in the very lowest level of hell. Alright, great. Sorry about my voice. I have a really bad cold and a runny nose. But of course, I'm committed to making a video every week, so I can't really skip it. Anyway, he'll be put in an iron coffin, locked with a padlock, and placed in the lowest level of hell, and he won't find anyone to get him out of that thing, that iron box. Who says this? Who is the source that said that there are 7 floors and the hypocrite will be put in an iron box and placed on the floor below? I don't really know which layer they will be in, whether it is the abyss, hell, Sakar, Jahannam, or I don't know. Source, the spirit of meanings, Al-Ulusi. Very good. The question here is, are there lower and upper levels in hell? And then, who said that? Who did Al-Ulusi quote when he said this is called such and such? Honestly, I really don't understand. I mean, if Al-Ulusi were in front of me, I would ask him, who told you this exactly? But in any case, I also want to say that you can't just take the Quran literally, even in this case, where it mentions fire, hell, blazing fire, lower levels, and upper levels, and all these stories, because, well, the Quran itself says, we do not send the signs except as a warning. I mean, the only purpose of it, there's no other purpose. As long as it says, except, you should understand that there's nothing else. And we do not send the signs except as a warning, just for warning. So actually, there is no fire or anything like that, by the way. That's according to the Quran itself, not my words. It's just for warning. You see, that was in Al-Isra 49. There's no fire or anything like that. The thing is, it was just meant to scare the desert dwellers back in those days, that's all. So actually, let me give you another example. I mean, this was really just a message for warning, just like the Quran itself says. For example, in verse 5 of Al-Araf, go back to Al-Araf, verse 5. You'll see what it says. It says, and the companions of the fire will call to the companions of paradise, pour upon us some water or from whatever Allah has provided you. They will say, indeed, Allah has forbidden them both to the disbelievers. Notice, the group of believers are in paradise and the group of disbelievers are in the fire. The disbelievers are burning. The fire is blazing on them and all that, and their skin melts, so God replaces their skins with new ones so they suffer even more. It's a whole long ordeal, really. In the midst of all this, they call out to the group of believers and say, for God's sake, send us a bit of water or something, or even a bite to eat, anything would be better. They're suffering, they're burning, you get it, and the others tell them, no, that's not going to happen. We're not going to send you anything. They ask, why not? They tell them, God has forbidden them to you now, since you disbelieved in the world. That's the whole story. I mean, just imagine, what's the distance between the believers and the disbelievers, for them to call out to each other and actually hear and respond? You get what I mean. And then, the disbeliever who's burning, does he really ask for water? Well, why doesn't he just ask for a shisha while he's at it? You know, and a cup of coffee or some tea or whatever. I mean, he has the nerve to ask for water and food, pour upon us some water or whatever God has provided you. Like, just a bite to steady ourselves so we can at least endure the torment. No, you see, people just read and that's it. Of course, this is a picture, you know, maybe we tell it like this to someone who, say, has Down syndrome or something, so we tell him, this is how it's going to be, so be afraid. That's how nations are made to question, or rather, that's how the vast majority of common and simple people are addressed. But when you come to discuss this with your mind, is it really reasonable that someone who's burning would have the time to set up a table like that? Okay, suppose the believers felt compassion and sent them a bite to eat. What would happen then? Besides, all of this is just an imaginary scenario that never happened. Because, in the first place, we're not at Judgment Day, and there's no hell or paradise. None of them went there, none of them said this, none of that happened. It's all imagination, you know, that's the whole thing. Because, really, how would that even work? It's like God is supposedly saying in advance what's going to happen on Judgment Day when some go to hell and others go to heaven. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You get what I mean from the story. Anyway, what was that? 145, 146. Except for those who repent, reform, hold fast to God, and devote their religion sincerely to God, those are with the believers, and God will grant the believers a great reward. The meaning is that God, the verse, or the Quran, makes an exception for the group discussed earlier. These are the hypocrites, those who repented from hypocrisy, reformed, improved their situation, fixed their relationship with their Lord, and held firmly to God and His religion. They stopped showing off, stopped being hypocritical, and stopped pretending to have faith. So, all of that means these people are in paradise, and God has forgiven their past hypocrisy. The previous verse, where is this explanation coming from? The source here is Al-Tabarani's Al-Tafsir Al-Kabir, the Great Commentary. That's actually very good, but a simple question. Why Allah repeated 3 times in the verse, the believers twice? Go back and check, we're almost out of time. So, go back to the verse, pay attention, it's 146. You'll find that the word Allah is repeated 3 times, even though the Quran usually relies on pronouns. I mean, that's always its style, okay? 107, 147. What would Allah gain by punishing you if you are grateful and believe? And Allah is ever appreciative, all-knowing. Here, it's a question from Allah directed at the hypocrites. Allah is questioning them. Do you get it? What is it about? The implication of the question here is as if God would benefit from it. You see, what benefit would He get from punishing you? I mean, folks, the hypocrites, if you are grateful and believe, what would He gain from punishing you if you did this or that? If you thank Allah and believe in Him, that's great. Your punishment won't add anything to His dominion, and sparing you from punishment won't take anything away from it. You get it? It won't diminish anything from what? From His authority, His power, and His greatness. What Allah thank His servants for? Their obedience. The verse is saying, and Allah's gratitude means gratitude. But when He is grateful to them, it means He rewards them. I don't really know how the word changes or how its root shifts. So, when they're the ones expressing gratitude, it's called gratitude. But when He is the one expressing gratitude, it means He rewards or gives a reward. You get what I mean here. The source here is Al-Qurtubi's The Compendium of Quranic Rulings. Alright, I have some questions about this verse. Does gratitude come first, or does faith come first? I mean, what is He actually saying? What would God do with your punishment if you are grateful and believe? So, are they going to be grateful before they believe? Isn't it supposed to be that a person believes first and then thanks God? You see, so gratitude is mentioned first. So how can they thank him if they don't believe? If you are grateful and believe, the way I understand it, or the way I imagine it, is that you believe first. Because gratitude can never happen except after faith in God. So what kind of verse is this? And then, does God actually thank his servants for their faith in him? Honestly, I don't understand this part. That was the point, because, they say gratitude here has two meanings. If it's the hypocrites who were grateful and believed, then that's one meaning of gratitude. But when God is grateful to his servants, it means he gives them a reward. How? I just don't get it, but the root of the word is the same in both cases. So if they are grateful to God, he is grateful to them. You believed in him, you know what I mean. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And for those who criticize me, that's normal. How else am I supposed to know? Yeah, exactly. I really don't get it. I mean, how am I supposed to know the unseen? If it means he rewards them or if it means he thanks them, how am I supposed to know? It's only natural for me to say I don't get it. All right. 148. God does not like public utterance of evil speech except by one who has been wronged, and God is all-hearing, all-knowing. The meaning here is that God doesn't like anyone to speak evil out loud, except for those who have been wronged or forced into disbelief. He can speak out loud and say something like, "May God ruin the one who wronged me," for example, or something like that. Basically, he can raise his voice about it. Who says that? And of course, the verse warns that God hears everything. He hears the oppressor, too. All right. Who says that? Fath al-Qadir by al-Shawkani. All right. The question here is, what is God, or what does the verse say? God does not like. God does not like public utterance of evil. Does God love and hate? What does that mean? I mean, honestly, love, hate, anger, revenge, and all those things. And actually, in the next episode, we're going to talk about some really tough issues regarding God and, specifically, his stance. Love, hate, anger, revenge, these are human emotions that don't apply to God. Whether you do good openly or keep it hidden, or forgive an evil, then surely God is ever pardoning, all-powerful. In short, to save time, whether you do good to people publicly or privately, or you forgive. I mean, if you forgive the injustice you faced, God is abundant. So, who does God pardon as well? He pardons the sinners at some point. That's the point. So who's saying this? Latif al-Isharat by al-Kashiri. Page 150. Indeed, those who disbelieve in God and his messengers and seek to make a distinction between God and his messengers, and say, we believe in some and disbelieve in others, and wish to adopt a way in between. What does this mean here? The Jews who believed in Moses and the Torah but disbelieved in Jesus and the Gospel, and the Christians. Those who believed in Jesus and the Gospel but disbelieved in Muhammad and the Quran. And those who believe in God but not in his messengers. And those who believe in some of his messengers and disbelieve in others. All right, all of these people are neither with the believers nor with the disbelievers. Who is saying this? I mean, they are the hypocrites themselves, the very ones we've been talking about since the first 10 verses. All right. Who's the source saying this? It's from the interpretation of the Book of Allah the Mighty by al-Hawari. So I have a question too. What's the wisdom behind repeating Allah and his messengers twice in the verse, even though the Quran usually uses pronouns in its address? Duh. Then, believing in God but disbelieving in the messengers. Who is making this distinction? Those who want to make a distinction between Allah and his messengers. Is this distinction with Allah or according to Allah? Those who want to make a distinction, how will they make it? They believe in whatever they want to believe in, and they disbelieve in whatever they want to disbelieve in. So, the act of making this distinction itself, who does it belong to? Who is it against? Is it against themselves or against Allah? That's the idea. Alright, let's take another verse, please. Those are the true disbelievers. And we have prepared for the disbelievers a humiliating punishment. The truth is, these people, those are the ones meant by the hypocrites in verse 150. They are the ones who disbelieved with a firm disbelief, with no doubt about it. They will have a painful punishment on the day of judgment. All 10 verses are about the hypocrites, their punishment, and their reckoning. It's all about that. So, what's the source here? The source is Irshad al-Aql al-Salim ila Mazaya al-Kitab al-Karim by Abu al-Suyudi. Honestly, that's the reference here as well. So, the verse repeats the mention of the disbelievers twice. Alright, so, those are the true disbelievers. Alright, the second part says, and we have prepared for the disbelievers a humiliating punishment, not for them specifically, but for the disbelievers in general. Alright. Thank you all very much. And I apologize this time if my voice, the cold, and all that caused any issues. I hope you'll help by sharing the channel. And I'll see you next Friday, because the next 2 episodes are 16, 17, and 18. Honestly, there are really big issues with them. Yeah, because of the matter of God spoke to Moses directly and all those things. And I postponed talking about this topic more than once. I said, when we get to it, and thank God, we've reached it, so we'll talk about it. Because, honestly, this basically undermines the idea of God speaking to Moses. It actually undermines the very concept of divinity itself at its core. Anyway, thank you very much for your patience, and we'll meet again next Friday. Goodbye.